What's good, y'all, man? My name is Tej. In this video, I'm going to show y'all how to make an emotional beat for Rod Wave's recent album, Beautiful Minds. And I made this beat with the help of my friend and platinum producer, Xave. I'll leave his socials in the description, so go check him out. And we made this entire beat from scratch, so stick around for the whole video. Be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'm going to pass this over to Xave, where he's going to break down the starter.
Yo, what's good with y'all? My name's Xave, at Rod Xave. And this is how I made the starter for the tutorial. Alright, so first the piano chords, it should sound like this. Okay, so the key of the sample is in B minor, and basically what I did was just is a 6-7-1 in B minor. So basically all that is just a G major, A major, and a B minor. And so I didn't want it just to be plain, just like that. So what I did was just add some little accents and grace notes, as you see right here, and like right here. But all you gotta do just to get those grace notes is just play along in the scale. You just want to create rhythm, that's all. Next, what I do for my top lines is I'll separate the channels just so that it's cleaner for me, and when I stem it out, it's more organized. So this is what the top line of the piano sounds like by itself. All I did was just play in the pentatonic scale of B minor. So with the pentatonic scale is just B, D, E, F sharp, A, and B again in B minor. And then right here, again, if you know your scales, this is just to make it like a little jazzy, just to have a little lick. But yeah, you just gotta know your scales just to play piano. And then for those mixer tracks, it's the same mixer track, just separated, and all it is just an EQ, cutting out the lows. Valhalla vintage reverb with the low cut up 320, the mix 23, and the decay dropped to 1.64. Again for both the pianos, and then I just leveled it. Next, what I did was add the bass, and this is what the bass sounds like. For the bass, it's nothing too crazy. Again, you just gotta know your scales, and what I did was just play in octaves and then just jump around. Just wanted to create rhythm with my bass. And then on the mixer track, there's nothing in here, I just leveled it. Next, I feel like the piano wasn't enough for it, and I wanted to make it more full. So what I ended up doing was just getting a pad. What I did was just copy the piano chords and then quantize them to make sure that it's not strumming, it's not a live instrument. And then after that, this is what it sounds like. And then for the pad, all I did was just put a Valhalla, boosting the low cut up 380, the mix 23, and the decay dropped to 1.64. And then the EQ, I just dropped a little bit of the low mids and mids. After that, I added little accents here, like this, just a regular pain accent, and then some ambience. What I did was go into DB's perk kit and grab just some texture, and this is what it is. And then after that, I went and got me some vocals from my vocal kit, and this is what it sounds like. And for the vocals, all I put was this SSL channel, CLA vocals, a de-esser, an EQ cutting the low mids, some of the high mids and the highs, another EQ just to have that low pass filter, an H delay with the bus turned down, a Valhalla vintage reverb with the low cut up 10, the mix at 36, and then I didn't touch the decay, and then a pan man just so I could pan it from left to right. And then after all that, you have this.
All right, so I really only added two things to this, which was the guitar and the vocal sample. So starting off with the guitar, I don't record most of my guitar in one take. Usually it's like 2 or 3 different takes, and then I just take the best parts and kind of put them together. I just recorded it in, and what I did is I went into each individual clip here, and I took the cut tool and just cut it where each note started, and then I hit Shift Q on my keyboard to quantize them to the grid lines here, and then I just went in and made smaller adjustments. To make it smoother, I also added these parts where the audio fades in and out. So I just went into the audio clip settings and went to the declicking mode and changed it to generic. That way the guitar just sounds smoother, and it also kind of helps reduce the harshness with some of the picking noise. So the guitar by itself sounds like this. So I recorded in the guitar dry, and then I routed it to the mixer track, and I put a couple of guitar rigs on it. The first one is the right in the middle preset, and I believe I left pretty much everything the same, and I just adjusted the gain on the fire breather down to about 30%. After that, I added the Luke's lap steel guitar rig preset, and I believe everything on this is the same. I just adjusted the decay and the pre-delay on the reverb. After that, I rendered it out as the full audio clip, and then I routed it to another mixer track. And in this one, I went into RC20 and I put on the Lush and Crunch Guitar 1 preset, and I reduced both the distortion and the space. And then I opened up another instance of Guitar Rig, and I got the basic Coolplex preset, and I adjusted this presence and this fader right here, and I also put the mix level to about 75%. And then lastly put an EQ on it to cut out some of the harshness and the higher frequencies, and then a low shelf to reduce some of the picking noise. So the finished guitar by itself sounds something like this. So after that, I put in the vocal chops, and this part was probably the one that took me the longest. As you can tell here, there's a lot of different pieces that go to it. So for these vocal chops, I didn't do arcade or anything. I kind of ran through some of Rod Wave's discography, and I kind of dug into some of the sampling a little bit, and I found out that the vocals in Street Runner was sampled from an artist named Ruth B. I went through a couple of her songs, and I picked out some of the vocals that I thought fit pretty well. So the song that I ended up picking was If By Chance. I got the MP3 of the full song, and I didn't want the instrumentals. All I wanted was the vocals. So what I did is once I had that MP3, went to this website called TuneBat. They have this vocal remover tool, and I just dragged and dropped it into here, and it split the acapella from the instrumental. Once I did that, I pulled it into the playlist here, and I set it to the correct tempo, and then I double clicked on it and hit stretch, and then move it back to the tempo of the starter and the guitar. After that, I chopped up some of the vocals from the intro and the chorus of the song, and I just kind of arranged it as such. And I also pitched these to key as well. I ended up having to pitch this up by 400 cents to match the B minor starter. So the vocal chops by themselves sound like this. So as for effects on the vocals, the first thing I did is I EQ'd them, and I put on a bandpass just because I wanted to give it that filtered effect. And then I put on fruity reverb. I believe this is the venue preset, and I adjusted a whole bunch of things. I think primarily I changed the size, decay, and the dry knob. And then lastly, I put on Fruity Love Filter on the low pass 2 preset. And then similar to the guitar, I consolidated it and rendered it out as one audio clip. And then once I had that, I just shifted over those vocals a little bit to the right so that they clash a little less with the guitar. And then that's how I got the final 16 bar sample. So once I open it up in a new FOP, I set the project tempo to 158 and then set the mode on the audio clip to stretch. And then I upped the tempo to 163 beats per minute. And then I also pitched the sample up by 200 cents. The key of the drums in the final beat is in C sharp minor instead of B minor. So starting off with the first sound, I got a standard trap clap. And I just put in the clap where it typically go, and I put it on the end of the 4th beat on the 3rd and 7th measures. Next, I put in my hi-hat. And what I ended up doing is I had it so that every other note was lower in velocity, just so it gives it a little more bounce. And how you do this is you go into your channel rack here, you go right click on the sound and hit fill each 4 steps, go into the piano roll and then copy and paste it using Control C and Control V. Then you want to move it to the middle and then just hold Alt and use the scroll wheel to adjust the velocities. So once I did that, I just threw in my rolls. I believe all of them are using the 1/2 step snap to grid. On the hi-hats, I put some effectrix on it on the 1/8 tempo with these 2 effects. Next, I put in the snare, and for this one, I wanted to keep it really basic, so no rolls, no anything. I just wanted this to accent the clap and make the overall drum sound just sound a little bit more complete. After that, I put in my 2 open hats, the first one being this one, and the second one being this. And I wanted these to primarily just accent the hi-hat and just add a little bit of extra bounce to them. And then lastly, I added my 808 sound, which is just a spins 808. And with this sound, I made 2 808 patterns. The first one is just meant to be like for the hook, and then the second one is meant to be more for the verses. So with these 808s, I'm pretty much just following the chord progression, which is adjusted for this key, A, B, and C sharp, and then going from C sharp, B, and then back down to A, except for the second half, I just have A an octave up. And then this right here is a reverse 808. This is just one of the ways you could do it. You take the note that you want to slide into, and you put it down an octave, and then you put this upper octave note in and double click on it and set it to legato or slide, and then you just lower the velocity a little bit and then it'll slide in smoothly to the next note. Other than that, I didn't add any special rolls or anything. I kept it pretty straightforward. And then for my next 808 pattern, like I said previously, it's pretty much just a simplified version of the first one. And this is the last drum sound, so this is gonna round it out for the rest of the beat. So that's gonna do it for us. I hope y'all enjoyed it and found it pretty helpful. Leave any recommendations or feedback in the comments, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Yeah, this a hit right here, Xave. Roll up, Tez.